What really happens when you stop paying your debt? Because you probably heard two extremes. On one side, everything falls apart because you stop paying debt. And then on the other side, nothing happens. They just ignore it. And the truth is, neither one of those are accurate. All right? Some people stop paying and immediately they get calls, they get pressured, they see things escalate. And others stop paying and it's quiet. Nothing happens. And now most people are wondering what actually determines that? What actually determines whether a person can stop paying? And when does me stopping to pay puts me in a position to where, I am, being able to discharge my debt or moving well within my right? Because there's a good amount of people, at least in the consumer law, in the debt community, in the straw man and sovereignty community, that still think that you should stop paying bills and then everything will fall in place. But we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what stopping payment triggers, and also why some people may get the wrong end of the foot for stop paying and some people don't. Okay? So thank y'all for watching the video. Remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tap into the channel. Happy Monday to you guys. Everything we talk about is not legal advice. It's not financial advice. Do your own research. It's only for educational purposes only. All right? Thank y'all for watching. Let's dive into another one. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that when you stop payment, it triggers a process. And most people, when they stop payment, they have an emotional understanding of why they stop payment, okay? They think that if I stop payment, I'm going to break the system, okay? And they're going to go through all these loopholes and this, that, and the third to make sure they get their money. But I want you to understand that you don't break the system. The system actually prepares for you to not pay. As a matter of fact, they have processes that trigger as soon as you do not pay, all right? So if you maneuver in the debt discharge battle and you think that, okay, as long as I send my letters and this, that, and the third, or as long as I do not pay, I'll be good, or they're going to start to ask the right questions. But here's the thing. As soon as you stop paying, whether the economic truth about money is real or not, they're going to act as if you owe them money, okay? And you cannot get emotional about that. You can fight them about that. But what happens is you trigger a default process. Now, this is common knowledge, but let me break defaulting so you can stop being emotional about it. All right? When you default on a bill or default on a contract, okay? Defaulting is not just because you didn't pay. Defaulting happens because as soon as you stop paying, a automatic process already starts. Okay? Even if you sent the letter, conditional acceptance, or whatever the case may be, and they still start to trigger, your credit report, you start to get collection letters and things in that nature, late payments. This is all processes that are already going to happen, whether you are able to just communicate or not. When you stop paying, the system triggers this event. Okay? So some of the processes that what happened on the default process is your status changes. Whether it's the late payment, it's a delinquent, they have internal reviews, risk evaluation, and they have to think about the next steps. And all of this is already automated. Okay? Going from department to department. As soon as someone stops paying, it already is set up. So I want you to understand that when you stop paying, it doesn't end the account. It truly activates what the system is made of, the whole point of the system. Okay? This is why I tell people to be able to communicate debt. This is why I tell people about the communication of debt, because this is where the power belongs. Imagine if you stop paying, but you communicate and say, hey, this is not a refusal to pay this, not to pay this debt, but I wanted to be able to get some clarification about a particular type of debt. You understand me? Now let's talk about why some people get hit fast when it comes to debt and why others don't, okay? Because there's people say, oh, I stopped paying that bill years ago and they never came after me. And then there's some people say, as soon as I stop paying, tax evasion, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I always tell people, okay? Your account is going to escalate fast, probably because it's a mortgage, probably because it's a $50,000 auto loan, okay? The reason why those get hit the fastest is because they are high value. They are probably more recent. Okay, they are well documented in most cases, and they are actively monitored. All right. So typically, for some people that get hit fast, they have a debt that is worth pursuing. They have an account that is worth pursuing, and this is why people who stop paying bills, you know, or have the notion that, oh, I stopped paying bills and they just stopped bothering me and this, that, and the third, or I sent my one letter and stopped paying. If your account is not worth pursuing, then yes, they're going to stop. And this is also on the element of, for my people that are attempting to negotiate debt, when you are negotiating with a debt collector, you got to ask yourself the same thing. Is this something worth pursuing to the debt collector? Yes or no? Because if it is not worth pursuing, then the debt collector is probably going to just let it be. And then imagine if you are even communicating, it will give them even more of a reason, like, oh, look, it's not really worth it. Okay? So let me put it to you like this. Strong accounts get strong action. This is why I tell people who come to me about mortgages and foreclosures and things of that nature. I always ask them, you know, how comfortable are you with this information? Okay? Do you understand how important it is to be able to challenge their documentation and make sure they are well documented? Do you know that it's important to understand that your mortgage is $300,000, and yeah, they're not just gonna lay down off $300,000. You gotta have these conversations with people, or else what they'll do is they'll go treat a mortgage like they treated their collection and wonder why now they're behind. Okay? So the reason why some people don't hear anything is because, and this is your advantage too, and this is where you, for my people that feel like they get ignored when they start the process, this is why, okay? Some people stop paying and it's quiet. They don't get any letters or whatever the case may be, but it's probably because the statutes of limitations. The account is older, okay? Any old account, typically after 3, and then in some states after 10 years, that debt doesn't even fit the statutes of limitations anymore, okay? Not only that, but then we talk about a debt collector's position being weaker. If you have a debt collector that's reaching out to you right now and it has been years and they haven't taken you to court, they have a weak position. All you need to do is challenge them. Send a debt validation letter. The cost to pursue is higher than the return. This is another strategy if you are challenging a debt collector. Let's just say your debt is $10,000, right? But it may take them $20,000 to go and pursue this in court. If you go to arbitration, that costs them about $1,500 to do a hearing. Then they got to pay the attorneys on an hourly rate. Then they got to get the documentation. So at the end of the day, just to do one hearing, they could easily spend 5 to 10 grand. Okay? And then it's something that's just sitting in the system. Somebody just waiting to say something. All right? But I want you to understand that silence is not safety. It's a situation, okay? Either way, my whole premise is you don't want to be silent in these matters. As a matter of fact, you don't want to just stop paying unless you understand this next part. The big misunderstanding and where most people mess up is they see people that say, stop paying your bills. And trust me, I was one of those people that had one of my videos go viral of me saying, stop paying your bills. And this is exactly why I'm making this video. And nothing will happen. And then they assume that I can do the same exact thing, not knowing that every single account is very different. Okay? What they don't understand is that different accounts are attached to different accounting, different numbers, and also different positions, depending on the debt and what the servicer has the rights to. So you're not copying a strategy, you're copying an outcome. So what stopping paying your debt typically becomes is that it's no longer about money, okay? It's more about your position inside the system. And that position is evaluated based on your risk, documentation, recoverability, and enforcement potential. Your account is being evaluated, not ignored. Now, this is where most people either lose or level up. Your power is not in hoping nothing happens. Your power is not in blindly stopping payments. Your power is in understanding your position in the system. Your power is in understanding how the system responds. Your power is in knowing when the account is strong versus weak. See, the power comes from understanding your timing and position. And you got to really ask yourself, for this particular debt that's coming in right now, what is my position? Am I 2 to 3 months behind? Did they already start sending me letters about the debt and I haven't responded? Am I already being sued? Okay. I talked about some of the questions that you should be asking a debt collector in the FDCPA and the Truth in Lending Act. But these are the questions you should be asking yourself. Okay. Are they communicating on time? Did I receive all the disclosures? Okay. Are they the legal holder in due course? What documentation do they have? Can their documentation prove that they can enforce this debt? Not that I owe, okay? And then operator also looks at and understands how they are going to respond. Okay, I sent this letter and I have written it in a way that if they do not respond, it's already set in stone. So for example, if I put in a conditional acceptance letter and I say, hey, look, I want clarity on this account, and until you give me clarity on this account, I will not pay. And the clarity that I need is the chain of assignment. I need to see the legal documentation that says that you are the legal holder in due course, X, Y, and Z. All right. I need to be able to see the accounting according to UCC 9-210. And when you ask these things, I know that the system or that the bank cannot give me all of the details. So guess what? I'm truly not caring about, if they give it to me, great, take it on the chin. But if they do not, I already know that they're not. I already know that their response is probably going to ignore what I say. They're probably going to play semantics. They're probably going to say I'm doing something frivolous. They're probably going to ignore it. So when I send a letter, I'm expecting them to ignore it. I'm not expecting them to respond every single time, because the system tells me that if they ignore it, I can take that as agreeing. So I know that the system is going to respond a certain way. I know your rebuttal before you already are going to rebut. And so I already have a letter set up for that. I'm already prepared. And then number 3, knowing when the account is strong and weak, taking a look at it. Okay, have I not paid over a period of time? Can they be able to prove that I breached the contract? Do I have any evidence to weaken their claims? Is the burden of proof shifted onto me, or is the burden of proof shifted onto them? Your account is strong based off of one thing. If the burden of proof is shifted onto you, if you have to provide the reasons why you are not compliant with the contract, the burden of proof is shifted onto you and they are stronger. But when the account is weak is when the burden of proof is shifted onto them. When you ask them a particular question, you say, hey, look, can you provide the documentation for this? And they cannot provide the documentation for it. Guess what? The account is weak. This is why just asking the right questions, asking for clarity that they should have, makes the account weak. Because imagine if you go to somebody and say, well, this person owes me something. And then that person says, well, if I owe you something, show the contract where I said I owed you. And then they don't have a contract or they cannot produce it. They're stuttering. Well, who has the contract? Oh, well, I sold it. Okay, that's fine. Do you have security interests? Can you enforce this? All right. So you can sit here and act like it's immoral for me not paying, but it's just business. You don't have security interests. Okay. So the only reason I can maneuver like that is because I understand timing and position. Okay. So be honest. Have you ever stopped paying something and nothing happened? Or did things escalate? Drop it below. So most people think that this conversation is about you either pay or you don't pay, but it's really not. It's about positioning and reacting. Positioning versus reacting. Because I want you guys to start positioning yourself instead of waiting for something to happen and then react. In order for you to win a debt battle, in order for you to get funding, it's all positioning. You fix your credit, you get positioned. to be able to access $100,000 in funding. Plus, you send your letters to the debt collector about a particular debt. You are positioning yourself for a case, for a potential non-compliance case. If you stop paying and you wait for them to reach out to you, you are reacting. If you have collections on your credit report and you decide to wait 7 years, you are reacting. Okay? I don't want you to be reactive. I want you to be proactive and position yourself. All right? So the system doesn't respond to your decision. It responds to your position. So no more about really getting emotional about debt discharge, not being able to pay your bills and this, that, and the third, when I can tell you from the very beginning, and I'm not sure, it's Monday, depends how I do the thumbnail. If anybody's watching this video, comment the word discharge all the way at the end. Comment the word positioning. Because the very key to be able to reach your success in life and get access to things in life is how you position yourself. Okay? It's simply 700 credit score, and banks will literally throw money at you. You position yourself socially, and companies will literally reach out to you to do business with you. It's called the law of attraction, just broken down for business. Okay? For my spiritual people, y'all understand the law of attraction. How do you get what you want in life? You attract it. And how do you become attractive? You got to do the work to position yourself. So if you want to be able to attract not paying your debt, then you need to position yourself and send them letters. You need to learn the administrative process. You need to understand the system so that you know why we do things like the administrative process, why we send a conditional acceptance letter, why we send debt validation letters, why we even send letters in the first place, what we expect, how we're going to respond, why they respond the way that they do, why they keep funding from us, why they give funding to us. Because once you understand that, do you understand that it makes it so much easier to maneuver through the system? Can I get a high five in the chat? And this is why we're going to talk about the next level of understanding in the next video. Okay? Because I got stuff to do today. All right? Tap into the brand social April 9th. But before that, next video, we're going to talk about how debt actually gets cleared. So you're going to want to stick around for that video tomorrow. We're going to talk about what causes counts to close despite doing debt discharge or attempting, and what changes your position, what puts you in position, because that's where the real control begins. Stopping payments is not a strategy. It's ignoring debt, so don't treat it like it's a strategy. Okay? But understanding what happens next, that's where everything changes. So you don't win by stopping payments. You win by understanding what happens after. Thank y'all for watching the video. If you want to learn more, tap into the Fund Yourself Academy. We really break down the reasons why and truly help people with the procedures in court. Tap into the Fund Yourself Academy. Also at the same time, if you're brand new and you've gotten this far, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment the word discharge. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next one.